Big Tech said stay in the cloud, but now, allegedly, the rebels are moving back. Back where? On-prem? They call it cloud repatriation. Some say it's smart. Some say it's stupid. Others say it's not happening, you just picked a new landlord. Let's unpack the nonsense and the oddly nostalgic urge to hack your own servers again. Once upon a time, in the land far, far away, every business had a server room. It smelled like burnt dust. It was cold, and it hosted a mystery black and beige boxes that no one dared to touch. And it had a sticky note that said, "Do not unplug." Seriously, I'm not joking. But then came the great cloud migration. The P2V, the physical to virtual. That was the battle cry. Get out of your own hardware, into the cloud, scale elastically, and pay monthly. Don't forget to pay monthly. From on-prem racks to AWS console clicks. We embraced the utility computing. We bought into the dream. No more expensive hardware. No, out of that from our server rooms and data centers. No more engineers sleeping next to the server rack. Just magical, elastic, globally redundant compute. What a dream. Or so we were told. Where did cloud repatriation got its hype? According to David Linthicum, Cloud Computing Insider Channel, companies are leaving cloud en masse. Kicking it to the curb, his own words. A video with 500,000 views. Thousands of execs probably Googling exit strategy AWS. But the evidence? Is this real movement or a few flashy headlines built on niche edge cases and a sprinkle of survivor bias? Of course, there is a case that everyone quotes, and that is the poster child of cloud repatriation, 37 Signals, Basecamp, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansen, the whole gang. I love them. I read their remote book that had a profound impact on how I run business. And I wanted to model my own business based on what Basecamp were doing. So when they said they left the cloud, or more accurately, when they moved away from AWS to their own hardware, hosted in a managed data center, everyone, including myself, paid closed attention. They blogged about it loudly with charts, costs, but in reality, this wasn't really a cloud repatriation. It was a big tech divorce. Their move wasn't necessarily back to on-prem and to the monolith. It was, we are tired to pay AWS margins and we can afford our own hardware and the sysadmins. So you may ask, what counts as cloud repatriation then? This is where things go a little bit muddy. Is switching from AWS to a regional cloud provider a repatriation? Nah, not really. It's just like changing your landlord. You are still renting compute, the storage, the networking, the IP addresses and the headaches, just from a different logo. Proper repatriation? That's rightly building your own data center, buying servers, hiring engineers, and praying the UPS works during thunderstorms. And that's not happening at scale, my friends, or at least I haven't seen that. If you have seen it, leave me a comment about it, but we just didn't see it at scale. Are some companies leaving cloud? Yes, but not for the reasons you think. Some of the businesses are leaving cloud, especially startups burned by surprise bills, or even enterprises that are told to optimize spend after Q2 earning calls. Sometimes cloud is really too expensive, especially when you over-engineer your stack into whatever 94 microservices and a serverless event stream that makes Kafka weep. And if you want to leave the big tech cloud providers for someone maybe cheaper, maybe closer to home, fair point. Just don't call that a repatriation, like you're bringing troop backs from war. Are we seeing a trend, or is it just course correction? Look, we all overbought the cloud. We ran headfirst into the cloud, arms wide open, credit cards blazing, and now we're scaling back. We're trimming the fat, so to say, migrating the over-engineered stuff into simpler setups. That is not necessarily a revolution. It's a belated dose of common sense. This is a confession of a cloud preacher, now reformed a little bit. I spent 13 years with IBM, another 4 years at Fujitsu. That's 17 years singing the gospel in the cloud temple. From utility computing to service-oriented architecture to do not build a data center, just rent hours and we will invoice you monthly fee and quietly upsell you along the way, forever. I was the poster boy for cloud evangelism, until I left. Until I co-founded a regional provider with my mate Paul Sabi, in the remnants of his garage. Also, I learned firsthand what happens when big tech doesn't like your use case. Blockchain, for example, oh you naughty boy, terms and conditions breached, account terminated, forever, no appeal possible. It was a wake-up call, and so came my dream of decentralized internet. Beautiful. But reality, we don't have decentralized internet, and I don't think we will ever have one. Cloud isn't going anywhere. It will evolve. It will get leaner. It will get more fragmented, maybe even more ethical. Maybe. But no one's going back to running main server under my desk. Please do not unplug setup. We're past that era, and thank God we are. Well, not unless someone completely lost the plot and wants to do it anyway. So where are we really headed? Repatriation seems to be rare. What is more common is diversification, multi-cloud, hybrid, on-premise for some workloads, cloud for others, bit for edge, bit of what the hell is this thing even running on? We're just correcting a course that we overshot massively and trying to regain control in a world that got a bit too abstract, bit too expensive, and bit too beholden to terms of service. My own personal bit that I want to mention, cloud isn't dying, it's maturing. And we're finally learning that cloud first doesn't mean cloud everything always. Question the hype. Keep your receipts. And never let anyone convince you that rebranding your colocation server as Edge makes you a visionary who just did cloud repatriation. And oh, one more thing. I don't like big tech necessarily. I hate how we ended up with cloud being effectively owned by a handful of US-based businesses. I'd love to see regional players rise, maybe even a few European hegemons giving us proper alternatives. But That is a wishful thinking on my end, and it's further away than I am willing to admit to myself. This video was inspired by my friend Richard Simon, aka the Cloud Therapist, who made me aware of David Linthicum's Cloud Computing Insider channel and his case for cloud repatriation and how companies are apparently leaving cloud en masse. To be honest, if it was happening and if I was seeing it, like those companies going for smaller regional cloud providers, I wouldn't mind for reasons that I've already mentioned in this video. That is wishful thinking, and the data, the research that I was able to make before recording this video doesn't seem to show that. So whilst we may see the occasional big tech divorce that some of the large and small customers on both sides of the spectrum may be leaving one of the big tech cloud providers, usually they go into a managed data center or to a regional cloud provider. And that is barely something that can be called cloud repatriation, because you still run your Dockerized, containerized workloads. You still have your microservices architecture. You most likely didn't rewrite your microservices up into a monolith and stuck it onto a big tin in your own data center, with the raised floor, your own networking, your own storage arrays, your own storage area networks, if any one of you remember those, which were there at the beginning of my career. None of that seems to be happening, and on one hand it is a good thing, because that was still coming from the big tech's angle, only with a different business model. It's not really an escape from cloud computing. It's really like saying, okay, enough of renting this expensive place. Let's move and rent somewhere else, rather than let's build our own new home, our own data center. Skeptikal Techie, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'm out.